Hey everybody, it's Andre here. And look, I need you to hear me out before you click off because we're talking about a game where you literally play as Jesus Christ. And I know, when you hear that, your brain goes one or two ways. Either you're like, that's hilarious, what is this? Or you're like, that's disrespectful, what the hell is that? Here's the thing, this game is neither one of those things, and that's generally surprising to me. So let's get into it. This is I Am Jesus Christ, developed by Spaceboat Studios, published by Wayplay, and it dropped on April 2nd, 2026, right before Easter, which is either perfect timing or the most calculated release windows in gaming history. Probably both. Now, before we dive in, I want to set the table properly because the context matters a lot with this one. This isn't some AAA open world epic. This isn't Ubisoft take on Holy Land. This is a small indie team. We're talking about 5 people who looked at the story of Jesus Christ and said, yeah, we're turning this into a video game. And the fact that they actually shipped it after being announced back in 2019 is honestly kind of impressive on its own. This game is sitting at a very positive on Steam, about 86% of reviews is thumbs up, so people are into it. So let me tell you what they're into. The premise and story. So you wake up as Jesus. No lengthy intro, no character creator. You just open your eyes and you're the Son of God. And from there, the game walks you through the entire New Testament. Baptism by John, gathering your apostles, and performing miracles, the Last Supper, all the way through the crucifixion. The whole arc is there. They didn't skip the hard parts either. And honestly, the story framework for a video game, it works better than you would think. Like, the life of Jesus already had everything you need. A protagonist with a clear mission, allies to recruit, a villain to face, trials and tribulations, and one of the most dramatic third acts you can put into a story. The bones were already there. The question was always going to be whether a video game could do those bones justice. The game leans heavily into being earnest. There's no irony here, there's no winking at the camera. They generally want to tell the story, and they did it with real care. There are moments throughout the game where you find these biblical passages in the environment, or you click on teaching spots and get direct scripture, and you can tell the team actually cared about the material. That comes through, and I think sincerely is a big part of why the Steam reviews are so positive. People see the effort and they're appreciating it. Even from a pure game criticism standpoint, I respect it. It's easy to make something cheap and goofy with this concept, and they didn't. They really respect things here. The gameplay and the basics. All right, so what are you actually doing in this game? At its core, it's a first-person open-world adventure. You got the Sea of Galilee, you got Jerusalem, you have Nazareth, surrounding areas. It's the bigger map than you expect for a game with this price point. You're wandering from city to city, you have a quest log, and your main objectives are tied to your apostles. You look at the apostle menu, you click on their mission, and you head to the marker, and you experience that biblical moment in game form. In between all that, you're exploring. You find historical items scattered around the world that you can read in the codex. Not just biblical stuff, but actual historical content about the time period and region. You find teaching spots, as I mentioned. You find random people out in the world who needs healing or that are being messed with by demons. The open world has stuff to find, but I'm gonna be real with you. The space between cities is pretty empty and bland. There's no walking around between towns, no random encounters out in the wilderness. There's no canvas passing through. It's just open land. And the game actually offers a quick travel option at the start of new quests that just teleports you there, which is kind of tells you everything about how empty those stretches are. If the developers themselves are giving you a skip button, maybe the in-between didn't really need to be there at all. Now, as for our movement, Jesus has infinite stamina, because of course he does, and that's actually kind of charming, honestly. You're just out there sprinting across the Holy Land forever, no energy bar draining. There's fast travel between discovered locations too, which you'll be using a lot. The miracle system. This is the most interesting part of the game and also the most uneven. Jesus has an ability wheel. You're unlocking powers as you progress: healing, resurrection, exorcism, transfiguration, multiplying food, walking on water, you name it. The game promises over 30 miracles and it delivers on that number. The variety is real. Whether every miracle feels good to execute is a different conversation, however. Some of the stuff is great. Walking on water is exactly how it sounds like. You just walk out into the water and it holds you. Simple but effective, and it still feels cool. There's these moments when you build something with your apostles or claiming a storm, and there's a genuine, yeah, this feels awesome feeling. The game finds its charms in moments like that. But then there are these other abilities that are just rough. Healing people is your bread and butter, and it works fine. You look at a wound, you click at it, and it disappears. It's simple, but resurrecting people or curing Puralis pills that you pull into this mini game where you're tracking a path is frustrating and half bank and adds nothing to the game. Exorcism throws you into an arena where you have to zap spirits and drag them through a portal, and it repeats constantly the same way every single time until it stops feeling like anything at all. And then there are some miracles that just feel hilariously simple. Turning water into the wine, you just literally walk up to the water, you click on it, and then boom, done. You got wine right there. I'm not exaggerating. I understand the budget constraints, but there had to be something more to that. Jesus also has what the game calls faith vision, basically a detective mode, like the eagle vision from Assassin's Creed or The Witcher sense. You use it to identify objects and people in the environment. It drains your faith meter, which is basically your mana, and the faith meter is a super easy to manage. You just hold a button to pray and it refills. It's intentionally casual, and I think it was the right call. This isn't Dark Souls, so you shouldn't be stressing out about resources in a game about Jesus. You also get to debate the Pharisees in these little mini quizzes games where they ask you questions and you pick the right answers. I actually did pretty well on those, which either means I know my scripture better than I thought, or the answers are just obvious. Maybe it's both. And the boss fights with Satan's is generally one of the more creative things in the game. You face him in the 40 days of the desert sequence, and it turns into the supernatural duel. Deflecting fireballs and holding your ground against temptation is not technically impressive, but conceptually it's exactly what the sequence deserves. They took 40 days in the desert seriously, and it shows. The presentation. This is where I have to be honest with you. Visually, the game is rough. The character modes are not good. Faces are kind of expressionless. NPCs look similar to each other, and the cutscenes that they play in the story sections are shockingly low res, like noticeably low. There are moments where those cutscenes retell something that you did in the game, so the story gets told to you twice, which is the pacing issue that probably came down to a lack of editing time. The map itself looks decent. The environments have color and atmosphere, and for a small team scale of what they built is generally impressive. The music is great. That's actually the consistent thing that you see in reviews. The soundtrack carries real weight and it fits the tone. And then there's the voice acting. Look guys, I want to be fair here because the developers were completely transparent about it on Steam page. They disclosed up front AI was used for the voice acting. They're a small team, no budget for a full cast, and they said it and they owned it. I respect the transparency, but I can't pretend that it doesn't hurt the game because it really does. This is one of the most dialogue heavy games I can think of at this price point. You're constantly talking to apostles and random NPCs, Mary, Joseph, and everyone, and the AI voices are just slow, robotic. They have no emotion. They drift between accents with no consistency, and they strip every emotional detail on its impact. Every big revelation, every dramatic scene, it doesn't land the way it should because every delivery is completely flat. If they could even find a handful of volunteer voice actors who cared about this material, and there are people of faith in the acting world who would have done this for free, it could have elevated this game significantly. This game is about 5 hours long for a straight playthrough. If you want to complete everything and find everything, cure everyone that you come across, click every teaching spot, you can probably stretch it out to 8 or so hours. At $15 a price point, it's a reasonable ask, especially with the launch discount to bring it down. The pacing though has some real issues. The early section of the game takes their time. The gathering of the apostles, the early miracles, the setup, there's space to breathe. But as you get further in, the game starts rushing through moments that deserves more. The crucifixion is the clearest example. There's a centerpiece of the entire Jesus story, the most dramatic moment, the most significant moment, and in this game, you basically just walk in a straight line and watch things happen around you. After all the buildup, it felt deflating, like they ran out of development time and they just had to get to the end. The Garden of Gethsemane is actually done really well. That's a standout moment, thoughtfully handled, creative, but when you get to the crucifixion, it's just steamrolls it. It's not a good ride. Who is this game for? This is where I want to be real with you. If you're a hardcore gamer who needs a tight mechanics and production value, this is not your game. If this is janky, it's rough around the edges, and some of the systems are half-baked, you're gonna be frustrated with this. But if you're a person of faith or someone who just appreciates the story of Jesus from a historical or theological standpoint, there's something here that's worth experiencing. The game is passionate about its subject matter and it comes through. The codex entries, the sculpture moments, and the way they gamify miracles, it all comes from a place of genuine respect and enthusiasm. It feels like an edutainment game in the best old school sense of that word. Like those games that you played as a kid where you're learning something but it didn't feel like homework. But here's the bigger picture thing that I kept coming back to. Look at the Steam reviews. 86% positive, nearly 300 reviews in the first few days. People are happy that this game exists because this really isn't anything like it. Religious stories, and not just Christian ones, are largely untouched in video games, and I Am Jesus Christ, for all of its flaws, proves that the story of Jesus Christ can actually make for a compelling video game experience for someone who gives it time, the budget, and the development team that it deserves. The proof is in the concept. This is someone saying it can be done and them doing it at a small scale, and I think that matters. The final verdict, I Am Jesus Christ, is a tough game to score because what it is and what it could be are very far apart. What it is a short, janky, low-budget indie game with the rough visuals, half-baked minigames, and AI voice acting that kills the emotional weight of every major scene. What it could be, with the bigger team, a real voice cast, and developmental time, is generally something special. The bones here are good, the concept works, the sincerity is real, and at $15 with the launch discount putting at around $13, you know exactly what you're paying for. If you're a person of faith or just curious about how the story of Jesus translates into a video game, I would say go for it. Set your expectations right. Understand that you're buying a small indie project and appreciate it for what it is. If you're purely chasing gameplay depth, keep walking. For me personally, I was compelled to see it through to the end, and that tells me something, because plenty of more expensive, more polished games haven't kept my attention as long. That's gonna do it for this one. Drop a comment. Were you curious about this game? Did you actually pick it up? I generally want to know if you're on this one because it's not the typical game and it sparks a lot of real conversation. If you got something out of this video, hit the like button. It really does help. I love when YouTube just gives me money for yapping. And we're here constantly throughout the week with new content, and you can catch me on Twitch too. Link is in the bio. And until next time, stay safe, stay smart, stay alpha. We'll catch you in the next one.